Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So I'm not sure if many of you seen the headlines that's out there lately regarding this woman. Her name is Elizabeth Hirshhorn. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not sure. She's been staying at an Airbnb for over a year. 550 some odd days in a luxury mansion, a luxurious area, upscale neighborhood in California called Brentwood. The property is owned by a doctor. He actually built, in addition to the mansion, a guest house and an ADU. So she was staying in the ADU, right? So she's on the property, but she's not actually in the main mansion. She's actually in a separate building that is on the property. So everything, as usual, was going good in the beginning, right? I believe they mentioned that she did have a long stay. That's what she signed up for. And that's what she agreed to. Everything was going wonderful in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, things turned for the worst. Okay? So she asked him that if she could stay longer, but she didn't do it on the app. So they made this agreement of extension outside of the Airbnb app. And that's really when things took awry. That's when she pretty much stopped making payments. And that's also when she started to complain that there were all these problems with the apartment. So for all the other months that she was there, there wasn't an issue. Now, all of a sudden, there's an issue. And why would you want to extend your stay at a place that you have issue with? Why not go somewhere else, right? But see, this is what we call in the real estate game, landlords. We call these people professional tenants. Hotel owners call them professional guests. These are people who want to squat on your property, and they look for every single loophole in the book to throw at you so that they can stay. And that is what this woman, Elizabeth Hirshhorn, that is what I believe, who I believe she is. Okay? So one can say, okay, well now, a lot of people are probably scared of Airbnb. Okay. I will tell you, I am on Airbnb's platform as a guest. I'm not on there as a host. I am for travel nursing, lawyers, things, so I'm on those websites, internships. I'm on those websites. I'm not on Airbnb. But I'm not on there for particular reasons. My attorney actually told me that it was best not to be there, and that was before they even changed the laws in my state regarding Airbnb. Okay? So, just letting you know this. However, because I am a landlord and because I do host what they call midterm rentals, I'm going to just shoot my shot and give you guys my 2 cents as far as what I'm not sure. I doubt very much if he did the following. So this way, those of you who are Airbnb hosts or were thinking about it, these are the things that you can learn from. Okay. Number one, I will say it's good that he owned his property. I'm not really here for the rental arbitrage situation. And if that was rental arbitrage, listen, that would have been a real nightmare. A real nightmare. Because you're going to be paying rent to someone and then you're not getting the profit that you need in order to pay that particular rent for that particular property. So he did one thing right. Okay. The next thing is that on Airbnb, the last time I checked, and I used them back in September of 2023, right? This year, a couple months ago, is that they have where you verify a person. So that means, I uploaded my driver's license and information like that so that people would know that I'm a trustworthy person, that I'm a trustworthy guest. However, I realize that every guest does not have that verification check mark next to their profile, right? As a matter of fact, some guests don't even seem to have a picture or even a clear picture. And I believe that those type of things are definitely important. Okay. If you are a host, only go with verified guests. Other platforms, I'm seeing the same thing too. I'm seeing a lot of people, they're saying that they want to stay at your house. They have absolutely no picture. Okay. And it's like, no, the city I live in, no, I want to see your picture. I want to see what you look like before you even ring my doorbell. I'm not having none of that. I'm not. Okay. Now, the other thing that I've noticed is, or what rang a bell is, why is it that they extended the contract off of Airbnb? When I was in Airbnb in September, I only wanted to extend it for a few hours. And I did it on the platform. You don't have to extend your time period outside of the platform. That doesn't make any sense to me at all, And then here's the thing. That's the same way that other lady was taken advantage of. If you guys remember, there were other Airbnb guests from hell where they were renting the bedroom in a house that the lady lived in and pretty much pushed her out. She ended up having to pay them $1,700 and they left. Here's the kicker. Elizabeth Hirshhorn wanted $100,000 in order to move. Okay? Because, see, here's the thing. In California, when they stay past 6 months, they qualify for relocation assistance. He did offer her some money when she had complained about other repairs and about the building not being up to code. He offered to pay her to move to a hotel. He would fix it and then bring her back in. She wasn't satisfied with that. So you see, she really is only there for the money. She doesn't really care about anything else. All right? It's not considered a con. The law protects them. But to me, morally, this is a con. Morally, this is clearly a scam. Okay? I want you guys to be really clear on this. Okay? The other thing is that you always should get a C of O and make sure you have the proper permits in your building, because especially the parts of the building that you plan on renting out, and even the parts where you don't plan on renting out, but let's say you just want to have a guest come over and spend the night. You want to make sure, particularly those parts, have all of the permits needed before you let anybody in. Okay, because guests in just about every state can turn into tenants, even if they were never paying you from the get-go. I did do a video not too long ago on that particular issue. All right. The other thing is, not only can you demand identity verification, clear pictures, you want to also do a background check. There are various tools nowadays where you don't need a person's social security number. As long as you have their picture, as long as you have, it doesn't even have to be their driver's license, just as long as you have their name, and make sure that they're using their real name. That's another thing. You don't want somebody who is using, like, for example, the real estate regroup show. When I check in, I have to check in with my regular name, or they'll call and ask me, or email me for my real name. You guys have to do the same thing as well. But yes, there are tools out here now where, as long as there's a picture and a name, and sometimes they don't even need a picture, they just need your name, where you can run a background check on that person. You can see all of their contact information, all of the different phone numbers that they've ever had, all of their different emails that they've ever had. You can also check their criminal background, as well as what their assets are. The reason why you want to check the criminal background is you want to see, like, how many times that they've been to court, prosecuted, and for what they've been prosecuted for. If it's a traffic stop, traffic violation, that's no biggie. But if it's eviction court, if it's foreclosure court, oh, that's a biggie. That's a red flag right there, right? You need to pause. Now, granted, you do have some professional tenants where eviction may not have come up because why? The previous landlord paid them to leave, right? So it may not come up under criminal history. However, seeing that they have lived in different places, you can go to that particular, city that they were from and type in housing court afterwards. And then you can pull up if they ever been to housing court. You can also call the housing court and find out, right? Especially if you see that, yes, they've been to housing court, they might be able, some records are sealed, some are not open. So let me backtrack that a little bit. But it doesn't hurt to ask. If they say no, they say no. But if you do see that they went to housing court, that might be an orange flag. And if they went because they had a landlord dispute, that might be an issue. Or if they've had a hotel dispute, that might change the color of the flag, if you will. Okay? Don't ignore any colored flags. I don't care what the color is. If it's green, that means it's good. But red, yellow, orange, blue, purple, no. No, keep those flags there. It's important. Okay? The next thing is that if a person is going to stay with you for months on end, even if it's on the Airbnb platform, you can give them an agreement. Because here's the thing, a guest, once they stay past a certain amount of months, depending on what state or city you're in, that guest is actually considered a tenant. So you want to give them a particular agreement so that they know X, Y, and Z. Okay, and your contract will stand up in court. Make sure, of course, you probably also want to take that contract to a lawyer and let them look it over. Okay, just to make sure that it aligns with whatever the laws are in your particular state. And then many states, they do have where you can put a line in that says, if any part of this agreement is not accessible in court, that does not negate the rest of the contract. Like you can, there's a proper wording to say that. But again, check with your lawyer when it comes to those things. Okay. The other thing that you can do is go into that person's social media, especially if they're using their correct name, and just look it up. Look up what their latest posts are. Because sometimes people tell on themselves. Believe it or not, they do. Okay. The next thing is, and this is where I get suspicious, last minute bookings. Like, I've had people on the other platforms who they're like, I want to move in. Like, if today is Sunday, they're like, I need to move in Thursday. I don't trust those. I feel as though if you know that you were coming at a certain time, you should at least put in like 2 weeks before. I've even gotten people who are like 2 days before. They're like, hey, I need a place to live immediately. I need a place to stay like right now. You know, I'm like, no, you'll have to go to someone else. It doesn't make sense to me, people who wait until the last minute. That to me is a red flag. All right. And then, of course, you know, Airbnb, there are reviews. You can review the guests, just like guests can review hosts. Hosts can review guests. If there are a lot of bad reviews underneath a guest's name, that's a red flag. And from my understanding, this Elizabeth Hirshhorn, this wasn't the first time that she's done this. She's done this before. She's done this with other people. As a matter of fact, I was reading that she still had a case with someone else in regards to the same thing, non-payment of rent. So guys, do that research. Another thing too, that you guys can do when you're doing searches, you can do a Google search for a person's name. So you can type in their name and then type versus, VS, and then press enter. That's another way in which you can see all of the different court cases that a person is involved in, right? So do that background check, especially if the person is planning on staying a long time with you, and especially if you have it set up where they're not in a separate unit, but they're like in the same unit as you. Okay? Definitely do that, because you have professional tenants, you have professional guests who will look at every single loophole that there is. So you want to make sure your property is up to code, it has its permits, it's copacetic before you even get somebody in there. You definitely want to do a background check before you let them step 1 foot on your property. Okay, guys? So Listen, that's all I have for today. Hopefully, the information that I've just shared will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Why? Because each one, reach one, teach one. Each one, teach one, reach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.